So many books, so little time to read. What is going on? This is Patches. It has been, don't quote me on this, but it's been about 7.5 months, I believe, since the last time I fell to the sin of masturbation and pornography. Wow, that's exciting. Anyways, I'm not in Banff, as you can see by this flatland. I am in Kansas, just entered back into Kansas. I have been at my cousin's, I don't know whether to call it a monastery. It's a rectory right now. It's at St. Patrick's in St. Joseph, Missouri, and he started an order. So this order, his vision of the order is going to be a mixture of monks and brothers and priests that all live together, and they walk the streets of cities 2 by 2, praying the rosary and evangelizing. Absolutely amazing. We started walking about, don't quote me on this either, 2 to 3 to 4 years ago, and he's really changed lives just putting himself out there as a Catholic priest. So that order is very traditional. He only has one guy that's joined. They have about 6 guys coming in, I think this next week or within the next month, to discern whether they are meant to be there or not. And like I said, very traditional. They only do the Latin Mass. All of the morning, evening, night prayers are done in Latin. Everything is pretty much done in Latin. The prayer before meals is done in Latin. So I feel like I haven't prayed in a while because I've just silenced and listened to them. But it was an amazing time. So my cousin started the order, but he is also the chaplain of a group of Benedictine nuns, and that's where we had Latin Mass, and it was absolutely beautiful. So the Benedictine nuns, one of their main focuses is singing, and so it was just mind-blowing how beautiful their music was. When listening to them, you can't pick out a single voice. It's all one. Like usually in a choir, you can look at a certain person and you can watch their mouth and you can be like, oh, okay, that's what their voice sounds like. You could not do that with them, because if they notice, say I was a Benedictine nun and I noticed I was off tune, I had to stop singing, genuflect, stand up, and then join. That's what they did. So there was nuns that would kneel down in the middle of it and then stand back up because they found that they were out of tune. And so they were all in tune, all unison. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So that's what I got to listen to pretty much all week. It was amazing. Anyway, moving on from that, jumping back to last week, I was on my way to Banff. So Sunday of last week, I was thinking about my trip, preparing for it, and I realized that, hey, maybe it's gonna be a little too cold in Banff for what I want to do. And so I double checked the weather again. I thought 50s were gonna be fine for being outside. I don't know what I was thinking. I was really just trying to push Banff on myself, and I'd already told people that I was gonna go, so I kind of felt a little pressure to go. I decided against it, and I went up to the Black Hills and spent about 4 days in the Black Hills, just going from place to place, Mount Rushmore, and all the way up to Bear Butte. And so last week, that vlog was Bear Butte. I actually took that vlog and I was planning, when I was recording that vlog, I was planning to stay there for another week. But after that vlog, I got down from the mountain, I slept, I woke up the next day, I went to a coffee shop, did all of my work, everything like that, and I was back and I was eating lunch, and I just felt something was off. I had felt it all week. During the entire trip, I just felt something was off, and I kept pushing it off. I thought I wanted to be there right then. I thought I had to be there. It was something that I had to do, and I was excited about it, but there was just this gut feeling of, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I pushed off again, and I was reading. When I was walking back to my truck, I was like, God, like, if you don't want me here, I'll leave. What? I don't want to feel like this. I felt like I was gonna vomit for a very long time, and I was like, I don't want to feel like this. So if you don't want me here, tell me to leave. And I, very blunt, I was like, appear to me, do something cool, because I am sick of feeling like this. Now, I wouldn't say a cloud appeared and it just started, storm started brewing and blew me out of there, but there was a storm that was kind of brewing out in the distance for a while there. And by the time I got back to my truck and I jumped in the bed of my truck to just kind of sit there and read, there was just this north wind that was just like pretty much rocking my truck. I was like, it's gonna start raining here pretty soon. I pretty much had a mental breakdown. And I was like, okay, I'm leaving right now. So I just packed everything up for a trip that I thought was gonna be like 3 weeks. I got to my 4th day, packed everything up, jumped in my truck, typed in Wichita, Kansas, started driving, and I didn't even get out of the campsite, and I started just bawling. So I haven't cried since like 4th grade, and I always thought when I cried is when I was gonna like find my vocation. When I cry, it's gonna be like come to Jesus moment. But I just started bawling. It was so weird. I'm very uncomfortable even talking about it, because I don't do that. And I just started bawling, and I was just like I couldn't even breathe. It was weird, and I didn't know how to cry, and I just kept driving, and I just drove in silence, like I don't know what's going on. So made it back to Wichita, and I had set up that day, I had set up an appointment with my cousin that I just visited. So he called me while I was driving, and I said, when can I be there? And he said Monday. So that was Thursday. I went back to Wichita, stayed a couple days, drove up here to Missouri, and when I got to Missouri, I just felt that that's where I was supposed to be at that certain time. So what's crazy about this whole story is I have been dead set on living in my truck come August. So after I teach Sodas to Us, I've been dead set on living in my truck, driving somewhere south, driving somewhere north, wherever it's warm, and listening to God there. And I've convinced myself that's the way I'm gonna listen. I'm not gonna make a plan, and I'm just gonna let God just blow me around the States. But tunnel vision. So I created this tunnel vision of living in my truck is the only way I can listen to God. And so that trip has kind of eliminated the tunnels, and I was making a plan to listen to God and I've eliminated the listening part. So maybe God's not calling me to live in my truck. Maybe he's calling me to stay in Wichita, Kansas. Which scares me now, because like now I'm shit out of luck because I don't have a job. So, but that's what this last week was for, was just kind of sitting down, learning to be okay with not knowing. And that's what I talked to my cousin, Father Lawrence Carney, about. Was I had a plan. God is apparently not okay with it. And he said, one thing I've learned is the more I make plans, the more God laughs at me. And basically that's all he had to say about it. And then went off on this whole amazing, beautiful speech about the 4 final things in life. I'm not smart enough to talk about it right now. Father Lawrence Carney recommended a book to me called, so I'm going to check that out. Excited to read that. Hopefully that'll kind of point me in the correct direction. I'm sorry, I don't even have a tip. Usually at the end of these things, I throw out a tip of like, hey, this is how I've stopped pornography in my life. Don't even have that. So of all of you watching, waiting for a tip, I'm sorry. This is just solely about me because I'm very selfish. Anyways, I need to get better at saying goodbye on these clips. So this is Patches. This probably didn't help, but that's my life. So peace out.